To the Friday Senior Solutions Agency call. My name's Joe Johnson. Got a great call lined up for you. Two special guests, Michael Mahalik and also Ryan Giddings out of Florida. Ryan is a top national producer, and we're going to be asking him some questions and finding out what his secret sauce. Great thing about Ryan is that not only is he a top producer, producing, $20,000-$30,000 a month, he's also an agency builder too. So definitely want to find out from Ryan what his secret is, how he's able to go out and produce at a high level and also build an agency at the same time. I'm always very impressed for people that can do that. Let's just do, before we get into the call, we'll just do a real quick sound check. Mike, I want to make sure you're still there. I know you're traveling. Sir. All right, buddy. And Ryan?
Yes, sir. I'm here, all buddy.
Awesome. Well, just a couple of real quick announcements. Last week, if you're on our call, and I'm going to keep up with this theme. Our theme for 2022, as you can see from your video screen here, is roll up your sleeves and go to work in 2022. And that's what it seems like, we talked to so many great producers, and it just seems like at the end of the day, it's all about just going to work and not giving up. The other thing that we're going to do, which is a little bit new, and if you remember from last week, I think I mentioned that our calls for 2022 are going to have a little bit more, or a little bit of a different theme, if you will, maybe a little bit more, I don't know, upbeat or, whatever have you. But I'm just telling you, I'm super fired up for 2022. One of the things I'm going to do every single week is I'm going to bring to you one inspirational or motivational quote, whatever you want to call it. This week, the quote of the week is "Fortune favors the brave." I've also heard it "Fortune favors the bold." Basically, kind of means the same thing. Now, these words, the "Fortune favors the brave," may seem a little bit familiar to you if you've been watching TV, especially NFL or NBA. There's a commercial on that Matt Damon does about cryptocurrency, investing in cryptocurrency, where he talks about fortune favors the brave, and which I think is kind of a good transition into our call today with Ryan, is because I see that same analogy here with agents, is that it seems like the agents that are the most successful are the agents that they're brave and they're bold, meaning is that, they're willing to invest in their business. They're willing to spend, $2, $3, $4, sometimes even $5,000 worth of lead investments before they even get a return, knowing that their return on their investment is going to be dictated by their work ethic, and they're not afraid to do the work. I always look at it this way: someone who's not, is not brave enough or not bold enough to invest in themselves, usually, well, I won't say usually, I've just never seen it work out. So I think this is a very appropriate quote for the week. If you've got an inspirational quote that means something to you and you'd like for me to air it on the show in an upcoming meeting, let me know. Send me the clip and kind of where it comes from. I tried to trace the origins of "Future favors the brave," and it's either Greek or Roman. It seems to be a little bit of a conflict, actually, where it came from. One real quick announcement: I sent out a blast text. Had quite a few agents respond to it. This is the first time that we're announcing it on a call. I know today's already, what is today? The 14th? Yeah, it's already January the 14th. So actually, this contest has already been going on for 2 weeks, but it goes all the way through the end of February the 28th. And that is the agent with the most applications issue paid through Transamerica. So this is Transamerica only, is going to win some lead credit through one of our vendors, Your Insurance Group, YIG. So first place is $1,500 in lead credit. Second place is $500 in lead credit. There is a minimum in order to qualify for the contest. You do have to have a minimum of 15 leads issue paid through Transamerica. So if you're not doing with, if you like to have an opportunity to get some lead credit, send some business towards Transamerica. If you need more details, certainly contact me. I can let you know. And lastly, before we get into our interview with Ryan, top producer, is if you're watching this on YouTube, because we are going to get this aired for sure, do us a favor, subscribe to the Senior Solutions Agency channel. We put out great content every single week. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. This way, when we do put out new content, you will be notified. And when you subscribe to the channel, you're going to have access to the complete library. We have hundreds of training videos that we've done going back, I don't even know, 4, 5, 6 years maybe. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to introduce our top agent interview. Ryan Giddings, are you still there?
I'm here, man. That guy looks a little bit slimmer than me at the front of that top agent, so I'll take it. So that is not me, but I will take the good looks that guy is.
That is not you.
I'll rock and roll, man. Joe, thanks for the opportunity for me to jump on this call with you. We've been
absolutely
in for I think about 3 years now. I think we first met in Orlando, and I knew that you had the biggest group with YIG, so everyone shuffled out. You didn't even know that I was eyeing you, and I was waiting until everyone left, and I stayed in the room on purpose so I could have a conversation with you and pick your brain. So
yeah, I definitely remember that. Yeah, that was good, good times. So Ryan, why don't you do, I mean, just real quick, just briefly introduce yourself. I mean, you kind of did, but just let us know like where you reside, maybe how long you've been in the insurance business.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, nine years now. Now with it being January of 2022, 9 years strong. I'd say the first year was a struggle. Maybe first year and a half was a struggle. I've almost thrown in the towel, probably once or twice, 3 times a charm the first
Yeah,
year. And then I think we all have, right, Joe? I mean, it's one of
I've
those.
been there, dude. I've been driving in my car, pounding on my steering wheel, praying to God, like, when's it going to happen for me? You know? So I get it.
But once you see the light, guys, it's one of those things where the longer you're in this business, your income should be increasing. A, the residual aspect of it. B, you're improving your craft, and then C, if you ever do want to start building, which I think you should be receiving some overrides. That's another source of income. If you're an entrepreneur, business owner, why not have another stream of income doing the same line of work, same amount of hours, if you will, just a little added phone time between appointments when you're driving from point A to point B. So been in the business 9 years, struggled, like I said, the first couple years. I think the biggest thing with me finding some success that second year or so was really looking myself in the mirror. And when I say that, I literally looked myself in the mirror and cussed myself out. If I would have recorded it, it probably would have gone viral. I was so mad. I started crying. I was like so mad at myself in life. I felt I was a failure. I was in restaurant management and resort management, just making 40K a year with a good college degree from University of Illinois and all that jazz. But I didn't really feel successful. I was behind on bills, struggling with debt, had student debt, all this crap. And the thing that really, I guess, cut the mustard was me just looking at, all right, when I go to someone's house, like I don't feel comfortable knocking on the door. I don't know what to say. I stumble across my words. I knew this, so I'm like, well, crap, if I'm going to be successful, let me improve that. So I sat down, spent about 2 full days watching videos, wrote down exactly what the objection was and how to say the rebuttal perfect. Once I did that, I went from producing like 3 to 4 thousand in a month to 20,000. And that was where it really cut the mustard. I started smiling at the door. That's probably one of the biggest things that I was like a redheaded stepchild. I was getting moved from manager to manager in this group, Joe, and they didn't want me. I think I had like 4 different managers, and then I finally found this guy who was awesome, Frank Novello. If you guys ever know of him, great guy. He's an ex rock star, and he just a cool cat. He just told me to smile, have fun with it, and I really from then on I've had a blast in this business because I think that when you are successful in this business, you're making a good income. You naturally are going to enjoy your job more because if you are struggling and you're on this phone call and you're doing the first step, you guys are jumping on and spending your time to improve by jumping on these calls. So I got to give you the first step. Kudos to that. But when you invest time and effort, you're perfecting your craft. And just keep pushing through because I promise you, if I can do it, honestly, anyone can do it. And I think knowing the rebuttals, objections perfectly will help you tremendously.
It listening to you speak, because it's just kind of funny. It's so similar to the way I felt when I first got started. But listening to your story, to me, it sounds like, you know, you struggled in the beginning, but a lot of that seems like, and I'm getting the feeling it was because it was lack of confidence. And then once you improved your skills and you were able to implement those skills, therefore having more confidence when you go to the door. So now it's easier to smile and to be relaxed and be able to give a better presentation when you have a lot of confidence versus kind of winging it and not knowing what to say. So I kind of get that, I get that feeling from you that confidence and the other thing too with that confidence is that you kind of get that momentum. So once you get your confidence, you understand and you're able to, you have those rebuttals. It's almost like, if you've ever taken, like defense classes or karate or whatever, if someone throws a punch at you, it's muscle memory. You know how to react instantaneously. And with sales, once you get the confidence down and that confidence starts turning into income, then you really are more confident because your bank account looks good. And Ryan, we get what we call the cash flow glow. Have you heard of the cash flow glow before?
I haven't, but I can assume what that would be.
Cash flow glow, man, is like, have you ever walked into a room of people and you just see somebody out of the corner of your eye and you just know they're making money? Like they look successful. They
Yeah,
have that
either they got a lot
confidence.
of money or they're just filled with with God in their heart. So it's one of the two.
That's cash flow glow, baby.
Yeah.
So when you have the cash flow glow, to me, and you're making money and you're confident, man, it makes this business so much easier, and it makes it so much more enjoyable when you're going out there. But it doesn't. The other thing too is that you've got to be able to stay in it long enough to go through that growth curve, that learning curve, whatever you want to call it. So Michael and I do have, I don't know if there's anything else. I want you to be able to speak totally, freely, whatever whatever's on your heart. But we do have kind of some prepared kind of interviewing questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted me to go through direct mail and kind of just that process, or do you want me to, or just
If
you guys
if
already
you
have it
don't
set up?
mind, since this is, we didn't rehearse this, it's not scripted.
Sure.
Um, let Michael and I kind of go through a couple of of questions.
Perfect.
And then if we go down any rabbit holes, I'm good with that. So you brought up direct mail leads. So yeah, if you're okay with that, let's talk about leads first. And I would like to know, out of your experience, and I know we've all dabbled in a lot of different leads, digital leads, Facebook leads. I know you were doing your own Facebook, you were doing them yourself, direct mail. Kind of give us an idea, maybe, in your opinion, whether if you're a new agent, experienced agent, in your opinion, what is the best type of final expense lead that agents should be working, and what are you currently working?
Sure. It's a great question. I would say for a brand new agent, I would say like, ooh, that's a tough one. You could go a couple different routes. I think Facebook leads are a pretty good lead to start, because it's a tough kind of 1 month, 2 month start to get the direct mail going. Whether, it doesn't matter what vendor you're using, it's always a very similar process. Sometimes it's hard to get in certain counties. Sometimes it comes in slow or fast. It's a little sporadic, and it's hard to get that faucet turned on to keep it running on a, so uh, direct mail is a great lead. It always will be a very good lead anytime you have someone's handwriting on it. But I would say if you're a brand new agent and you're trying to make money tomorrow, I would say Facebook leads are a great secondhand lead, to where it's a fresh market, it's a fresh campaign. When you place it, there's a ton of vendors out there, whether it's TTC, Game Time, Happy Agent, the list goes on. If you guys type in Facebook final expense lead vendors, there's so many out there. There's even ones that are doing 50% off sometimes, around the holidays they do deals. So the biggest thing is you can't just get a batch of 20 though, right? So, and I think that
Okay.
the biggest thing is agents will just get the minimum, right? Well, if you want to buy the minimum, you're going to make the minimum, right? So whether that batch of
Good
20
point.
leads, you could only get 2, 3 buyers, and if you bought 40, you could maybe have 8 buyers. So you just don't know. That batch of 20 leads, there could be 0 in there, and then the next batch of leads could have 5. But you need to have that number to overcome the pitfalls of the numbers, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. You always want the odds in your favor. So and it's like you could get a batch of 20 leads, and like you said, they could basically be duds. And, the next 20, you sell 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. You just don't know. And 20 leads is too small of a sample size to know what you got. Plus, if you're new and you go, you get 20 leads, that may be part of your learning curve. You know what I mean? So you may really suck on those first 20, kind of get through some stuff, and then the next 20, or the next 20 after that, you're going to constantly be improving. What were those? Could you name the top 2 or 3 vendors again for Facebook leads?
Yeah, Secure Agent Mentor is one.
Okay.
Tips, Tricks, and Closers,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
CC leads, Game Time, Happy Agent.
Yeah.
So those are just kind of the ones that are kind of known in the business.
Yeah.
They come back super quick. Lead Bank is another one. I like Lead Bank for the fact that it will close out a territory for you, and it'll just keep that faucet running. So they come back super quick. I think I just ordered a batch in Illinois, even though I live in Florida. I'm trying to do a transition to telesales because I'm going to have either a son or daughter April 8th.
Oh, wow.
So
Congratulations, man.
thank you.
And then
So
how
gonna
about direct mail? What's been your experience with So I know the advantage of Facebook is that you can, you know, instead of waiting 3 or 4 weeks, maybe you're waiting 3 or 4 days for them to come in. Um, Overall, if an agent can get on direct mail, I mean, would you say that, I mean, in your opinion, because, not trying to,
If the
sway
money,
one
yeah,
way or the other,
if the money's there and the finance is there, if you got a credit card, you got to go out on a limb and start your direct mail now. I'd
yeah,
say start the campaign now. If there's plenty of vendors, Joe knows them all. Start that campaign now in a territory near you, or even travel. Do business trips 2-3 days at a time. Find a good area. Find an area where you're getting leads coming back. Ask Joe. He knows the best. He's been around the business a decade, and start that campaign now, and then start your Facebook lead orders today.
yeah. So ideally, in a perfect situation, you want to get started today, order Facebook leads, put in an order of 40 at least, have those leads come in, and simultaneously get your direct mail lead order in as well. Correct? Is that what you're saying?
100%.
And then how many, if you're a full-time agent, let's say specifically direct mail, what do you think an average agent would need to be successful? How many leads a week?
I'd say 20 is fair. The sky's the limit. You can order as much as you want, but I would say 20 is a fair number per
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, that's what I always say too. I think 20 is kind of like the minimum. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
you need, I mean, how hard is it to work 20 leads a week? I mean, you should be able to knock those out and have a great conversion ratio. Do you know any of the numbers as far as conversions of, like, if you got 20 Facebook leads as compared to 20 direct mail, how many of those were turned into actual applications?
Sure.
Approximately.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. I watch these numbers to a T with my agency, but it's about 15 to 20% for Facebook, and
Okay.
it's anywhere between 25 to 35% for direct mail.
Okay. All right. What was it on Facebook again? You said 15 to 20?
15 to 20%. It varies. It goes up and down,
Okay.
but it's
Hey,
around.
Joe, Ryan and Joe, can I add some in real quick? I've been told, Ryan, I'd like you to confirm this with me, that Game Time is now doing Facebook by county. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe they have it to where they have some in. They have it like an inbox, to where you can just order those right now, and then you can place an order for more.
Got
That
it.
was always the biggest thing with Facebook, was obviously the windshield time, because it used to be you'd pick a location, then they could be anywhere 50 miles around that radius. So anytime you're working on Facebook, we always try to manage the agent's expectations that, hey, with Facebook, there's going to be some windshield time in between, compared to direct mail, where you can almost go all the way right down to the exact zip code and work the zip code. But Joe, the 15 to 20% he's talking about Facebook, I've seen across my agency as well. That does seem to be pretty standard with a Facebook lead.
Yeah. And then direct mail, 25 to 30% conversion ratio.
I'd say 35, 25 to 35. It just kind of depends on the agent. I mean, I think direct mail, there's more of a factor, right? With quality of agents and expertise and overcoming objections and stuff. I think you could be the best agent in the world on Facebook. It's hard for me to get over 20% closing ratio on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with you on that one. Mike, do you have a couple of, I've got more questions, but Mike, I've been kind of hogging Ryan's time. Why don't you go ahead and come on in and ask some of the questions that you wanted to ask.
Definitely. Ryan, I want to ask you the number one question that every agent asks me, and that is, what is your power schedule? How do you schedule your week? Because we know in this business, being self-employed, the most important person we manage is ourselves. So Joe, could you sort of let us in on the secret of a top performer, what your schedule looks like every week?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. Definitely a loaded question, but I think the biggest thing is just being prepared. So, a lot of people don't work Sundays. That's great. Take that day off, but get yourself prepared. So at least take an hour, make sure your leads are printed off. Make sure you've had, you placed your Facebook lead order. If you're doing the Facebook lead orders place them on like Thursday. So you get your leads hypothetically back by, Monday or Sunday. Have them printed off, figure out, your GPS, put them in your GPS, have everything set so that, around Monday, around 8 o'clock or so, you can go to work and get after it. I typically will call my leads. I run through them, do a quick call. I really don't even care about setting appointments. I just want to find out approximately when they're home, if they work. I typically will ask them if they're working, retired or disabled, married, widowed or divorced, or single. So I find out real quick. They might be at work. I'll be like, perfect. What time do you typically get home from work? They say 6 o'clock. I don't really care if they hang up on me. I mean, now I know their schedule, right? So now I know that they're getting home at 6. I'm going to put a note on there, stop by, door knock at 6. But I typically will try to do a quick set appointment with people that are at work. Perfect. You typically get home around 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's crazy if you tell people what time they're getting home and it's wrong, they will correct you, right?
What do you mean? Give me an example.
So like, Joe, you're 290 pounds, so you're gonna correct me, right?
Yeah, no, I'm 285.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're probably a buck 90. So the thing is, like, you tell someone they're 5'7", they're gonna say, no, I'm 5'9", right? It's just
Okay,
naturally
right. It's
logical.
human nature, right?
So I always put words in people's mouths. If they say they have a doctor's appointment at 1 o'clock, they'll say it's at 2. Then I'll say that typically that takes an hour and a half. They say yes, they perfect, I'll be back at 4. So no matter what you tell them, they're going to correct you, or they're going to at least tell you the answer rather than say, what time do you typically get home from work? If you don't say anything, they might hang up on you. They might, I'll just give you a call when I get off work. Okay, boom. And then like, you're not getting what you want. All I want is a time. That's all I care about. So I'll say, what time do you typically get home from work? Around 5:30, 6 o'clock. They'll say, yeah, I get home at 6. Any reason you wouldn't be home at 6 o'clock and be available? No. Okay, perfect. I'll drop by that information then. So then they're at work. You're not trying to bother them. I'm not trying to have a full-on like conversation. I'm a field underwriter, and I'm going to ask you health questions, and we're trying to get you coverage. Do you want? I'm not going into all that. I'm just trying to quick set it. So to long story short, I'm trying to set as many appointments as I can. I try to set a 9 o'clock, a 1 o'clock, and a 6 o'clock for the next 2 run days. Don't set appointments out 3 days, 4 days out, guys. If it's Monday, you want to set for Tuesday, Wednesday, and what have you. And with it being dark, around 5 o'clock now, you want to try to set that 6 o'clock appointment. That way that you're not door knocking in the dark. It just doesn't work. It never will. Maybe if you're like 4'11" and a female and you're like 100 pounds, but like I'm 6 foot, like 225, got a little bit of muscle on me, it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. So talking about your schedule, this is a question I get from a lot of people that are agents that are selling, but also trying to recruit. How do you balance between selling, because you're still active in the field, between selling and managing your agency?
Yeah, so it's a lot more simple than people think. They think it's like, that's crazy, I can barely be an agent, but it's a lot easier than you think, because Joe's got a staff member. When you can hire a staff member, it doesn't really cost as much as you think, because it just makes it leverages your time, so you have more time to be out in the field and produce. So then they take that money and throw it back in your business. So that's one part to it. So I have a full-time recruiter. She recruits nonstop, and then she does onboarding and all that contracting stuff. And then I also have a phone, and I call my agents when I drive from point A to point B. So if I have an appointment or I'm driving 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, I know there's new agents that need help. I try to walk them through where you at. Perfect. What can I help you with? Product knowledge. Okay, there's this training, there's that training. Let me send that over to you. Any questions you have for now? Perfect. All right, so what's your schedule looking like? Let's set a day that you're doing this. So you got that 5-10 minute window, sometimes even 30 minutes to an hour, where you can actually have legitimate conversations with agents and throw that knowledge from your head to theirs.
Got it. Very good. Michael, what other questions do you have?
One of the number one questions, Mr. Ryan, is most people's biggest fear when starting final expenses door knocking. So could you talk a little bit about door knocking and how you overcame that fear and how you trained your agents to overcome the fear of knocking on the door of the leads?
Yeah, absolutely. And I probably didn't detail my schedule as much. So to put it to a T, Mondays I'm doing just a couple hours of phone calls. I'm trying to set as many appointments as I can, and then I'm out in the field door knocking on that Monday, and then I'm running appointments, Tuesday, Wednesday, and door knocking in between. And then again, Thursday I'm calling, then I'm door knocking in between on Thursday, and then I'm running appointments Friday as well. So you want to set as many appointments as you can, and then just door knock in between. Don't be scared that you only have one appointment. Make yourself go out there.
Right.
To answer the door knocking question, it's just repetitiveness. I mean, if you played any sports or even started playing a sport, you're bad at first and you got better at it with repetition and practice. So I was horrible at door knocking at first. I was horrible at it for about a year. It was that one magical moment when I started yelling at myself in the mirror and really said, it's not the leads, it's me, and I need to improve myself. And if I don't improve myself, this will never work. So I just got really good at, when Betty Sue told me, "Oh, I don't feel too well," or Betty Sue told me I'm busy, or Betty Sue told me I already have coverage. Betty Sue said all these things, and before I would say, "Oh, okay, so you don't want any insurance then?" And then I just go in my car and I'm just like calling my manager, "These leads suck. She didn't want insurance." So you got to understand that life insurance is an apple pie. It's not a Corvette. It's not a tangible product where you can enjoy it right away. So it's an intangible product that you're not trying to sell insurance at the door. All you're doing is your messenger, and you're trying to get through that little platform door. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. I promise you I'll be super brief. Are we doing this inside or outside? So I'm not asking if this is a perfect day for you guys. Are you busy? I'm letting them know, I'm showing them the information, and I'm giving them an ultimatum, inside or outside. And that's it. And being politely aggressive. At least, the good thing is I do have the charm of being a handsome man. So I put a big smile on my face. But that's the thing, is like, I don't care if you're big, tall, skinny, fat, ugly, old, young. It doesn't matter, because just like Joe was saying, like, I bet there's a small little, black belt that can kick my butt, who's 5'1". Even though I have size on him, it's all about technique and skillfulness. If you have the skills and you practice those skills by looking yourself in the mirror and overcoming all those objections and rebuttals and memorizing those to a T, so that you can actually come off cool, concise, and confident, then you will be a monster at door knocking. And I think every agent, yeah, they could do telesales, they could be great on the phone, all that jazz, but door knocking is probably the biggest skill, that is the most underrated skill in this business. That if you got good at it, you don't need, honestly, if you got good at door knocking, you don't even need leads. You got a fist, you got teeth, and you got a smile. And you'll be surprised, if I promise you, if I went out door knocking my neighborhood right now, I would sell life insurance without any lead.
I like it, Joe.
Hey, so Ryan, now that you've got your confidence, I'm hearing it in your voice that you really like door knocking.
I love it. It's the best
Yeah.
part of the business.
Yeah, I do too, man. And I'm all for like preset appointments and all that. But there are some times, man, when I'm running personal production, I won't even bother getting on the phone. I'm just like, I'll just go out door knocking without any preset appointments. The other thing too, I know that like if you have an appointment you got to get to, I understand that. But if you've got a window of opportunity and you door knock and the client's there, are you trying to get in right then and there to make a presentation, or are you booking an appointment for later that day or tomorrow?
So I would say about 75% of them I'm getting in. That's ideal.
Okay.
Obviously, that's way more efficient with your time because you're there. You got slacks on, you got your badge. I mean, you're ready to rock and roll.
Right. And they can't stand you up. They're already, you know what I mean? They can't no show you when you're already home and you're there.
100%. Then if they are busy, again, I'll put words in their mouth. Again, this is chess, not checkers. When you put words in someone's mouth and say, you busy, why? You got like a doctor's appointment or something? Boom, they'll tell me that every time. So half the time it's an excuse, right? So it's just it doesn't it there's no way that 50% of the time I come across someone they have a doctor's appointment. But it just happens to be that's the biggest excuse people say because they probably had a doctor's appointment later on that week. Whatever it is, psychologically they're like, "Oh, I got a doctor's appointment." I'm like,
Right.
"Okay,
Right.
perfect. So what time is that doctor's appointment? Around 1 o'clock or so?" They're like, "Yeah." And again, I I nailed it on the head. Why they're busy, I nailed it on the head right when the doctor's appointment. So I'll say, "Perfect. I'll be back at 3:30." So
I
you
love it.
you gotta take whatever they say with a grain of salt, in one ear out the other, and you just have to know, like, this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to cover this person and their family. It might be you might have to be a little politely aggressive, but at the same time, if you're not going to be politely aggressive, that next agent will. And you got
True.
to understand that you're there for a purpose, and you're out there helping families. And if you're not going to protect that Betty Sue who's 75 with no life insurance and no money in the bank, and it's going to be a financial burden on their family, and she could easily afford 50 to 75 bucks a month, then this might not be the right business for you. So you really have to understand that there's a more purpose than just making a commission here, guys.
Yeah, very true, man. So a couple of technical questions. E-applications or paper apps?
I'm a big e-app guy,
Okay.
just for the reason being that if you got all the carriers, um, if you did paper, I mean, you'd have quite a bit of paper. And if you're producing at a high level, you're going to have multiple applications with multiple companies. So every carrier, for the most part, is going to be an e-app availability. If you have a tough time with e-apps, guys, practice makes perfect. A lot of these companies have Sandbox and have these like e-app tools that you can use. That you can play around at the comfort of your own house. Call the sales departments. They'll walk you through. Don't call Joe because Joe doesn't want to talk to you for an hour about doing an e-app. There's professionals that are representatives with these carriers that get paid salary or hourly to do this for you, and that's their job. So they actually will explain it better than Joe will. So
Yeah, and
you
I think
need
we have training on our website, or not on, we probably have a tutorial on just about every carrier e-app process out there. So, like you said, practice makes perfect. So you prefer e-apps. So in order to use an e-app, you either got to have a laptop or a tablet. Which are you using?
Yeah, I do. I have a MacBook Air, and it's a little tough for signatures, and it always ends up being like a little funny family members laugh at their mom or laugh at their brother when they're signing it. But
Okay.
because I do the agency side and I need an Excel spreadsheet and I need a couple other tools, my MacBook is pretty much all I bring with me with a
What's a
binder.
MacBook? Is that a laptop?
It's a laptop, yep.
Got it. Okay. And then Pro, is that, so what size is it? How big is it?
It's like your typical Mac. I think it's maybe like I'd say it's like 8 by 12 maybe.
Oh, so it's it's pretty small.
Yeah, it's not giant. I mean, it's yeah,
Okay.
it's a piece of paper covers the screen, kind of.
Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Um, and then as far as um, knowing like field underwriting, how do you determine what's kind of a quick and easy way to determine, um, which carrier that you're going to use, or do you have like, hey, I got this go-to carrier and everybody goes there unless they don't fit in, then I go to plan B. What's your strategy on that?
Yeah, just you'll find a carrier you like. There's plenty of them out there. Whether it's Forester, Transamerica, Mutual, Americo, Aetna, whatever it is, guys. You guys, if you don't have one of those ones I rattle off, talk to Joe and he'll get it for you. But just find a carrier, get comfortable with that carrier, and know all their products. Have the brochures. Um, I typically will lead with a carrier, whatever it is, but find one. Whatever it is, find one, get very, very comfortable, know where the home office is, know how long they've been in business, know their financial stability, know how much they have in assets and um, their assets and liabilities, because these questions get brought up and then you get thrown off guard. And then if you're come off as a professional, I promise you they'll treat you like a professional, they'll buy insurance from you.
Yeah,
Like,
I always go with that theory too. It's for me, it was always easier to go out with one carrier in mind. I always lead with that same carrier until during my health interview process, I found out, oh, well, wait a minute. They would have to go modified or graded or whatever with this carrier. Then I go to plan B. But what I find, if I find that one carrier that I'm really, really comfortable with, man, I got to tell you, probably, 75 to 85% of the people that you meet with are going to fit in to probably a level or standard product with that one particular carrier. So it can be very overwhelming and very confusing, especially for a new agent and even an experienced agent. You're going out there with a portfolio of 5, 6, 7 carriers, and then you're like not knowing who to use.
right.
Narrow down your selection and simplify it and get that one carrier that
Yeah.
you're super comfortable with.
Do a carrier that's instant decision, right? I mean, I understand Transamerica is a great company and they have a little contest. They have the Trendsetter Super and LB and the 10 pay and the final expense ages 0 to 85. And actually one of the best, they probably have the best rates in the country, but they don't really give you an instant decision. And sometimes it takes 3 to 4 days, 2 weeks, and then it comes back. They have pain medication and they're really finicky on certain things, but then they take neuropathy and they don't take pain meds. I'm like, what in the world? So like, you have to find, whether it's Foresters, whether it's Mutual of Omaha, whether it's Aetna, whether it's Americo, find a carrier that's instant decision, American Amicable. They're all out there. Royal Neighbors. Find one that has an instant decision and lead with it. Be knowledgeable about their products, know their brochures, know their membership stuff, know everything they have in and out for term and whole life and final expense, and and go out there and make a mess of it, man. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm in 9 years, man, and sometimes I have to fly by the seat of my pants and pivot from here to there. But you know what? That person next to me probably knows that they couldn't get coverage before and they got something going on with them, and I'm gonna stick in that dirty seat until I find them coverage.
Yeah. What advice would you give for a brand new agent that's just getting started?
Start work today. So like, don't get off this call and then make a cup of tea or sandwich or, oh, gotta run errands or no, like place a lead order and go to work. Like this is one of the, I think Michael Mahalik says it best. I think he always says it's an, is it, Michael, what is it? A simple business, not an easy business?
Oh, this is a mega trend that is a simple business, but definitely not an easy business.
Correct. 100%.
You,
And it's
What
just about,
business is? I mean, at the end of the day, you got to work your ass off. That's the, I mean,
yep.
you got to have a little bit. You don't have to be a genius. That's the one thing I love about this business is that you don't have to be super intelligent to do it. Okay. You got to have average intelligence, but above average work ethic to make this deal happen, and have persistency and be able to go out there. All right, how about what advice would you give the experienced agent, let's say the guy who has been licensed for 5 to 10 years, but really hasn't been as successful as they want to be? What do you give that? What advice would you give that agent?
Yeah, I think the best advice, I'm going to look this guy up. So I just went to, again, I'm not trying to pitch this, but went on a Medicare conference for 3 days in Phoenix and just got back today. And it was a speaker, I think his name was Jeb Blount. He was a great public speaker. And what he said was, find out what you want. Like, find out what you really, really want, right? So a seasoned agent, if they don't know what they want, then they can't force themselves into producing higher than what they're producing, right? Because they're like, all right, I'm making 6 figures, I'm cool with that. Mortgage paid, wife's happy, car looks nice, cool, but end of the day, like, if you're going to increase your production, you have to know what you want. So set a goal, whether it's to build some income to grab an annuity for retirement funds, whether it's to improve the vehicle or add a vacation home, whatever it is. You got to find that little goal or that little niche for that year,
Yeah.
or the 5-year plan, whatever it is, and set it first. And then with that, say, how can I achieve it? So set your goal, set what you want, make it tangible, an actual physical product, whether it's a house or car or 100K annuity, whatever it is, and then figure out how to do it. Now set a thing in place. If you're doing 20 leads, do 25. If you're doing 25, do 30. So just all you have to do is keep doing what you're doing. If you're successful, don't change a thing about that. But if you're starting work at 9, start it at 8. If you're starting work at 10, start at 9. So whatever it is, increase your production by just doing the same thing that you're doing and just adding on more leads. That's all it is.
Yeah, increase your activity. Yeah, that's the key. The key to increasing your income is increasing your activity. By increasing your activity, you'll increase your efficiency and you'll increase your skill, which will increase your income even more. Michael, any before we let Ryan go, and Ryan, I am so seriously, brother, so appreciative of you hopping on and sharing some wisdom. But any last thoughts, or Michael, any last questions that we'd like to get answered while we have Ryan on the call?
I think Ryan has done a phenomenal job, and it really comes down to this right here. It's better to get started now than to get started right. And, paralysis by analysis, as we always talk about, Joe, is the biggest enemy of every agent out there. They think they need to know everything. They need to be perfect. No, they just need to get out there and do it. It's better to get started now than to get started right, and get started with the carriers you got. So, Ryan, we really appreciate it. I think Ryan, you touched on what you do when you get some resistance at the door, because Joe, you and I normally talk to newer agents, it's usually the door knocking and the fear of the resistance that they're going to get at the door. that's their biggest fear. And it always comes down to the point we're never trying to sell them at the door. We're just trying to sell the appointment. And once we get in the house, that's where we actually start educating them.
Yeah.
So I think
And
you've
like
done a
what
great
Ryan-
job, Ryan.
Yeah, politely, being politely assertive or politely, I forget, is that what you said, Ryan? Politely,
Yeah, it's something that I just came up with in my time, but politely aggressive.
politely aggressive. Yes. Yes. Being bold. Bold is genius, guys. You be more. And here's the thing, when you believe in what you do, and in your heart of hearts, you know your number one goal is to get that client covered. Once you get that in your heart, it's a lot. It was for me anyway. Once it clicked, and I really realized what I was doing and what an impact I could potentially have on their lives, it was a lot easier for me to be politely aggressive when I knew what I was doing was the right thing. And whether they liked it or not, whether they wanted to buy life insurance, I knew that I was improving their financial, wherewithal, or making sure that when they do pass away, they're not leaving their family with a financial burden.
Yep.
So, all right, brother. Ryan, any last words of wisdom before we let you go?
No, just go after it. Life is short, guys, and work hard and make money. We're in a great income producing country. I was on a cruise 2 weeks ago. I went to Roatan, Honduras, and it made me feel so fortunate of this country. And I love what you have behind you there, Joe. And guys, if you guys are struggling with your bills, you're doing something wrong, because you're in a great industry, and all you gotta do is increase your production.
Absolutely. All right, Ryan. God bless, brother. Thanks for being on.
Guys, see you, Michael.
All right, Mike.
I appreciate it, sir.
All right, brother. I'll talk to
Thanks,
you guys.
everybody.
All right, man. See ya.